Well, PCV2 is a fast-evolving virus. It's probably one of the fastest ones as DNA viruses. From this point of view, the possibility of generating variants is there, and it's very clear. It's true that we never use the word variant for PCV2. Variant is a wording that has been extremely popular nowadays with SARS-CoV-2. But when we have been talking about PCV2 and different sequences, we have classified them into genotypes. And the genotypes, what they really represent is the variability at the genetic level that the virus may have. But of course, the most important issue here is if those variabilities observed at genetic level, if they have a kind of translation at especially epitope level and especially regarding immunity. Is it possible that the immunity generated against one genotype could be different from the one generated in front of another genotype? And even more, could be non-cross protecting, for example? The most recent information that we have is that so far with the existing genotypes, and I'm talking about the major genotypes that has been found all over the time, which is PCV2A, PCV2B, and PCV2D, it's clear that there's cross protection among them. So current existing vaccines are able to cover, to protect against those three genotypes. Even they are slightly different at a genomic level. And we have to say that at this point, we know at least 9 different genotypes. Everything it depends, of course, on the way of classifying such genotypes, because classifications have been changing over time, because at the very beginning it was a short number of sequences. So with such low number of sequences, a very simple discrimination about genotypes was possible. But nowadays, the virus has been evolving much more. The number of the variabilities that we have observed at genetic level is much higher. So we have to refine our genotype definition. And with the most recent genotype definition, we have at least 9. Even those 3 that I mentioned before are the most prevalent ones by far difference. Well, my perception is that the pathogenicity of the different PCV2s, for the different genotypes of PCV2, is not apparently different. In fact, even nowadays, in which we are experiencing, in spite of vaccination, some cases, which I would say that represents a very low percentage of our vaccinated farms, that they are suffering from the systemic disease, is not due to the change of the virus, is probably due to the change in the epidemiology of virus. Because what we have been doing by means of mass vaccination is changing the epidemiology of PCV2. You have to think that before the existence of vaccines, the infectious pressure was quite high, and the virus was circulating freely without major problem as soon as you have susceptible animals. And animals losing maternal-derived immunity, of course, they're excellent animals for replicating without any problem. So the virus replicates easily. However, by increasing the vaccination pressure, you certainly decrease the infectious pressure. And by doing so, you can create subpopulations of animals that may be susceptible at a given time point when the immunity provided by the vaccine or the maternal-derived immunity is gone. So I believe it's much more a matter of epidemiology rather than a matter of changing pathogenicity of genotypes or viruses. We do not have any evidence that the current variation of genotypes are jeopardizing the effect of the vaccination. So from this point of view, I'm not afraid. And if I should send a message to producers or veterinarians, is that the current use of existing vaccines should protect against PCV2 systemic disease. If you still diagnose PCV2 systemic disease by means of the standard diagnostic criteria, then what you should do is probably to investigate what's going on. Because an investigations here, for example, the quantitative PCR serology plus the histopathology and detection of the virus in tissues can be of great help. Because as I told you before, this change in epidemiology may cause that early infections jeopardize the effectiveness of your vaccine. But remember, if you have concomitant diseases like PRRS at the time of PCV2 vaccination, you are also jeopardizing the effect of PCV2 vaccine.
Sure.
So we have to be very inclusive
Yeah.
altogether.